three-dimensional space. For species with two eyes, that is the perfect amount of spatial dimensions. That's because our brain is receiving two separate images and can use the slight differences between them to determine depth. Things that appear to move a great distance between the two images are closer, and things that move a small amount are farther away. Astronomers actually use this technique, called parallax, to determine the distance to stars by looking at images taken at two opposite ends of the Earth's orbit. This is why 3D videos are filmed with two separate cameras a few inches apart from each other to simulate the distance between human eyes. Each eye receives one video feed. In so-called passive 3D, both parts of the image are on screen and the polarized lenses separated out so that each eye receives the appropriate image. In active 3D, the screen actually shows one image immediately after another, and the glasses blank out one eye and then the other so that each eye sees only what it is supposed to see. This idea that the differences between what our eyes see leads to depth perception has actually led to some very interesting inventions. In 1853, an English scientist called Charles Wheatstone invented something called a pseudoscope. It was essentially a pair of glasses, but with a series of prisms and mirrors, such that the light that should have hit the right eye was transmitted to the left, and light that should have hit the left eye was transmitted to the right. This had the effect of reversing depth perception. Far away things seemed close, solid things seemed hollow. This shape would appear to be this shape. I don't think it had much practical use, but I absolutely want one. However, there is a problem with this whole parallax creates 3D idea. I was told as a child, as I imagine many of you were, that if I covered one eye completely with my hand, I would see the world in 2D. And when I do this, it's undeniable that my perception of depth is greatly diminished. However, it's not gone. I can still navigate the world. I can do this without any fear of hitting the camera. My daughter can see that a weight is about to crush her skull and catch it with ease. Obviously, there are other factors that the brain is using to determine depth as well. That's exactly what Turkish scientists at the University of Yalın wanted to study when they created these. They may look like ordinary glasses, but they are far from it. There is a single aperture here and internal fiber optics that lead to these two screens. Therefore, when you're wearing them, each eye is receiving the exact same image, eliminating any parallax. Because both eyes are receiving images independently, the brain attempts to extract depth information in the normal manner, but without parallax, it is forced to rely on the other factors that it uses more heavily. Scientists were hoping this would allow them to isolate and study those factors. But what actually happened is truly remarkable. When I put these on, I have no feeling of depth whatsoever. The world looks completely flat. It reminds me of certain video games where it's not always clear what's in the foreground and what's in the background. I have no idea how close anything is right now, and it's making me very nervous. Used incorrectly, this can lead to some very interesting situations. This may have larger philosophical ramifications. If our brains are tricked this easily by things being just ever so slightly different than we expected, under what other circumstances might this occur? How much of what we observe should be suspect? Some researchers are creating things known as adversarial images that can fool human and computer brains in weird ways. For example, researchers have used images like this to trick self-driving cars into breaking the speed limits, and images like this to fool Google's image recognition software. I hate to be all college philosophy freshman on you, but how much of what we see are we actually seeing, and how much of the reality we observe is real? I don't know, but I would appreciate your thoughts in the comments because this is definitely an idea worth exploring.